मानू कराना
ये साथ भी खूबसूरत मानों के सराहने के बाद कार्रवाई को आगे बढ़ाते हैं. As a token of affection and gratitude, we would like to present saplings to our dignitaries. I request Juveria Iram, research scholar, physics department, to present sapling to Honorable VC. Next, I request Mudassir Raja, research scholar, physics department, to present sapling to guest of honor Padma Shri Vasudevan Jnana Gandhi sir. Mr. Sayyed, research scholar, please present sapling to Dean School of Sciences, Professor Salman Ahmed Khan. Mr. Ishfaq, research scholar, math department, to present bouquet to Professor Alim Basha. Thank you all. Now, I would like to invite Professor Alim Basha to give the welcome address.
Good morning to one and all. Assalamu alaikum. Respected Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Syed Ainul Hasan sir, Padma Shri Vasudevan Gandhi sir, Dean School of Sciences, Professor Salman Ahmad Khan, convener of this workshop, Dr. Priya Hassan, dignitaries, Vice Chancellor Professor Rahmatullah sir, Professor Shakil Ahmad sir, Professor Najbal Hassan sir, and other professors, associate professors, and assistant professors from School of Sciences. It is a moment of extreme pleasure to welcome the participants, both from online as well as offline mode, who has come to attend this workshop. On behalf of the Department of Mathematics and Physics section from School of Sciences of this university, I welcome our beloved Vice Chancellor as chief guest of this session. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and sparing your valuable time with us for this workshop. And I offer my regards to all the delegates and session-wise speakers for joining us. And it is a glorious moment to extend my warm welcome to our guest of honor, Padma Shri Vasudevan Gandhi sir, for accepting our invitation as the keynote speaker for this workshop. Once again, I wish a very warm welcome to all of you for this upcoming international 3-day workshop as AstroSprint, the next generation. I warmly welcome all of you, one and all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dean School of Sciences, Professor Salman Ahmad Khan, to give his remarks and introduce the School of Sciences, a brief introduction about School of Sciences. Professor Salman Ahmad Khan.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning to everyone and very warm welcome to all. Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, our colleagues and dear students. On this significant and special occasion of 3-day international workshop on AstroSprint, the next generation, which is completely aimed to bring together the researchers of astronomy. I'm extremely happy to welcome speakers from the prestigious university. Moreover, on the behalf of the School of Science Manu, it is my pleasure to welcome all delegates of this workshop who have joined online, offline from the different countries as well as different part of India. Your presence in this workshop is highly enthusiastic for the organizer and highly appreciated. Maulana Azad National Urdu University was established 1998. Presently, Manu has 7 schools, 9 departments. We have more than 10 campuses all over India. The School of Science was established in 2006. The School of Science has Department of Mathematics, and we have 4 sections, including physics, chemistry, geology, and botany. Currently, we are running undergraduate courses in life sciences and physical sciences. We work in MLT, MIT, postgraduate courses in mathematics. In addition, all the sections and departments are actively involved in research and PhD programs. I congratulate Department of Mathematics and Physics, School of Science for organizing this workshop, which focus on current challenging issues in astronomy. If someone really wishes to see the creation of God, he must learn astronomy. Astronomy is the only branch of science which has no boundaries. I hope we must learn many deeper facts of this branch of science, and I'm very much sure that this 3 days workshop will be help the researchers and students to develop new idea in the field of astronomy. Again, I appreciate the effort of Department of Mathematics and Physics to organizing this workshop and wishing you all the best for the success of this program. Thank you all.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर अपने तासुरात पेश करने के लिए. Now to formally introduce and tell us more about the workshop AstroSprint, the next generation, I would like to invite Dr. Priya Hassan, convener of the workshop. Dr. Priya, please.
Thank you. Thanks. So, ये जो workshop है, this has been titled AstroSprint, and by sprinting we mean it would sprint you into research in astronomy and astrophysics. So ये project start हुआ था COVID pandemic times में, which was funded by the International Astronomical Union Office for Astronomy for Development, because basically idea ये था कि during the pandemic, while students are sitting at home and everybody is stuck at home, we can actually make students get on to work, actually doing research work in astronomy and astrophysics. So ये पहले start हुआ था as astronomy from archival data, वो पहला project था, and then the second project which we got was AstroSprint. इसमें 3 workshops were there, but because the pandemic situation did not improve, इसीलिए the first 2 workshops were held in online mode last year in March and August, and the final workshop that is now is next gen, that was enterprise and discovery, Star Trek themed, to keep people enthusiastic in astronomy and astrophysics. So I would also like to welcome Dr. Sushant Konar, who has come to us from National Center for Radio Astrophysics. We had a lot of people who contributed to the project. We had students from 23 different countries, more than 1,000 participants, and ये project में the people who work with us are all over the world. And so it has been very good. We have a lot of online participation. And basically, a project we have been having science lectures on science and astronomy, as well as hands-on sessions where people are actually running code in Python or whatever data analysis software is there, that people could learn how to use the code and apply it to their data. So Shana is one of the success stories because the students who work with her, their paper has been accepted also, it's getting published also. And hopefully the students should come tomorrow. And similarly, the students who worked with Professor Hassan, with me, etc., they presented their work in the meetings of the Astronomical Society of India and various other meetings. So many of the projects have actually culminated into research papers. That is very good. That is exactly what we wanted from the project. And while the project is on, we do hope that. So the 3 days workshop, we have a slightly odd schedule in the sense Sunday morning also 7:30 in the morning we start, but that's basically because we have participants, we have speakers from all over the world. So time zone ke wajah se they have been speaking at it's odd hours for them as well as for us. But I'm obviously very enthusiastic about the workshop because we do hope that this effort that we are taking of educating students or getting them into doing quality research with astronomy archival data is something that will help them. And obviously, last but not the least, I would obviously like to thank our Vice Chancellor, our Dean, Head Physics Department, and Professor Gyana Gandhi for coming with us and participating, being with us for this important meeting. And we do hope that students will be encouraged to do good research in astronomy and astrophysics. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Priya. I am sure the participants will definitely benefit from this workshop. It's my pleasure to invite Professor Shakil Ahmed to share his valuable thoughts and remarks on this meeting. Professor Shakil.
Dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais, dear participants, colleagues and students. A very good morning to you all. Good afternoon and good evening also, because this is an international conference and people are participating from all over the world. That's a good thing. AstroSprint, a very interesting name. And I'm sure you all will be very interested in listening or see the workshop and also to know more details. I'd like to start with this actually why, I mean, this name is of course is interesting, but then a few things which how the whole evolution took place. In the beginning, when we carry out the scientific research, we have been doing mostly in isolation. People sit in our lab, develop something, publish also, of course, no doubt. Then realize that we should work in group, and that has been really fruitful because when you work in a group, work gets multiplied, and you get better results. And then we started and this is progressed further and started mission mode project, like to have a big mission and that you carry out together. Of course, the group as well. But this has led to the international collaboration or national collaboration as well. But then what is important is not the collaboration, rather international cooperation. Now the time has come because we elect the field of science, anything. It cannot be done in isolation. Definitely we have done it. So in international collaboration, much more is the international cooperation. You have to cooperate, obviously, it makes sense. Okay. Unless you cooperate, unless you do it together, this has got a lot of advantage. The very first advantage is that you have to complete everything in time. Because many people will be working together all over the world. You delay that, the work will be linked, so you cannot delay that. So that's a very good advantage you've got, as well as the knowledge share. It's obvious that your knowledge, and normally, and now we have come to the virtual mode, into Corona and also this. But what I'm talking here, this virtual mode is not this online participation only. There is another definition of virtual mode also, that we transport something, not physically something like that, or something else. Let me tell you this another example to make it very clear. Like, let's say water. We know that in Northeast India, a lot of water is rain falls and all, we have a lot of water. In Telangana, we don't have water. In Telangana, people eat rice. Now, we can grow much better, much more rice in Northeast rather than in Telangana. So nowadays, in transport is there, we get it transport. Suppose you grow there and get it transported here. So what you transport, because for you it's so simple, for a general layman, it's rice it will be transported. It's not rice, because a lot of water is being used for rice, because that's why we are growing over there. So with that, you are transporting a lot of water also. That's called virtual water. Like that, here when you cooperate that, you transport a lot of your knowledge. So such things are very common, and I'm sure this we should make advantage of that. And that's how this AstroSprint is there. Because this project, I just went through that, very interesting. Have gone already 2 years in spite of the constraint of Corona, all those things, and people work. I wish really a lot of good wishes for this. Much more should come forward, particularly, and then this was added the next generation. So I'm sure, although I don't find many people here, this house has been filled with the young generation. The young people have to come forward, but I wish that this project is grand success, as well as I request and so that all of you should come forward, because the new time is very, very interesting, very challenging also. To come forward, take participate for the welfare of the entire society. The next is going to be your work should go to the society also. So with that remarks, I thank all. Thank you, the organizer, for giving me the chance and to all.
Thank you, sir, for your motivational words and thoughts. We are indeed honored to have amidst us eminent scientist Padma Shri Vasudevan Gyana Gandhi to deliver the keynote address. Now I request Professor Syed Najmul Hasan to introduce him formally. Professor Najmul Hasan.
Good morning. On the dais, off the dais, colleagues, students, and participants across the world. It's my privilege to welcome and introduce the keynote speaker of today's session, Padma Shri Gyana Gandhi. It's really fortunate for us to have a person of his stature amongst us today. And the most remarkable thing of Mr. Gyana Gandhi is he is extremely modest and very helpful. He's helped tremendous number of students in their careers, and I request the students sitting here to use this opportunity. Be in touch, and he would be of great help for you. Mr. Gyana Gandhi is an eminent personality in the area of cryogenic rocketry. He has been the backbone of Indian rocketry. When you hear his stories, you will know how ISRO, one of the most successful institutions in India, ISRO is by and large the best one in India, which has been extremely successful. And they have gone through time when they have carried rockets in bullock carts and on cycles. And now we are among the leading 5 nations in the world which have sent their probes to not just moon, but to Mars and so on. And India had achieved reaching the moon only in one launch. The first mission they sent was a successful one, while the Russians, Americans, Japanese had had many failures before that. And the reason for that is there are people like Mr. Gandhi behind in ISRO who work tirelessly to achieve this. He got his graduation in mechanical engineer from Tyagaraja College of Engineering, Madurai, and joined ISRO in 1968. Like I said, he worked on rocket propulsion, covering solid, liquid, and cryogenic rocketry for the last 50 years. He is retired from ISRO, but he's very much a part of it because whenever they have launches, he still is called there. And he's there on the side to advise and see that things are going right. He has served ISRO in various responsible positions like project director, cryogenic system project and program director, cryogenic systems projects, deputy director, SRQA, and associate director, LPSC. He was instrumental in the technology acquisition of Vikas engine from France during 1976. To 1979 and was responsible for the cryogenic technology acquisition from Russia in 1993. That's when I was very fortunate to meet him, and he has been a source of inspiration for me since then. He has made the pioneering effects of rocketry in India. Under his overall leadership and guidance, cryogenic upper stage engines have been developed and successfully tested, demonstrating the most complicated technology. He's been awarded the Astronautical Society of India Award in 2002 by the President of India and was honored with Padma Shri Award, which is one of the highest honors for civilians. So he's presently involved in developing a hydrogen bus with Tata Motors, and he's currently working as of Skyroot, a startup company to develop rocket launch vehicles for small satellites. ISRO has been extremely successful in GSLV and PSLV rocket technology, and Mr. Gandhi has been a part of these projects all through. With this, I welcome him to deliver his talk on the history of rocketry. Thank you.
Vice Chancellor and other dignitaries, my dear students, it is a great honor for me to be with you, specifically on the topic and where my friend Roger is always thrilled and he has taken me to observatory and the earlier times and all those things. Very interesting. Actually, maybe when I am from a small village, so maybe when I was studying up to SSLC, there was no electricity. So generally we used to sleep on the terrace along with my sister and my brothers. So always our only entertainment is to see the sky. So
We used to tell, can you count how many stars are? Well, it is those days. So sometimes my sister told me this is the constellation. Maybe she will tell some other name. Maybe she may not be knowing what the exact name for that. Maybe the hunter having the belt, 3 stars, and the major Ursula, whatever you talk. We used to wonder those days. It is not only stopped there. When I finished my engineering, so it was a very bad time after the Chinese aggression. There was no job, even though there was only 5 engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu. We could not get a job those days. Of course, now if you throw a stone, definitely it will fall one of the engineering college anywhere in India. That kind of growth is good. But finally, I got, in the newspaper, there was advertisement from SSTC, Space Science Technology Center. Now it is called VSSC. So I got the form and I filled it up in 1965, sometime. So there was a particular column. Whatever you feel like, you can write. So we don't know what to write. So I sit with my sister, daughter, and all those things. Then I said, I am seeing the sky and it is fascinating to me, many stars, and love to do some work on this. Something I have written. Maybe the scrutining engineer or people might be interested. They called me for the interview. So I went there. Maybe one of the questions asked by the member is Radiation Institute of what? Maybe my lucky number is 4. I said 4. So I got selected. Later only I came to know the man who asked the question is none other than Dr. Kalam. He was in my interview. So I joined in ISRO and started working. Well, this kind of workshop, I'm very proud, and it will kindle the young mind to think, critically or creatively and cooperatively to do something which is aligned. Maybe the individual, you can communicate each other. That is very, nowadays not much, but I love to see this kind of workshop. And maybe those days, we normally hear the tortoise and rabbit story. So the rabbit slept and tortoise won, and the next day again. Now the story is slightly different. So next again the tortoise asked, why not we'll have a run. He took another path where there was a pond. So tortoise could not win next third day. So then finally they have decided, okay, land I will carry you and in water you carry me. So every individual has certain potential. So among you, some may be good in mathematics, some may be good in chemistry, some may be in infrared and this one and instrumentation and whatnot. So share the knowledge and come out with a proper. That is the interest of, I think, what they are planning to do. And I'm very happy to be here for this workshop. Today, generally, I used to give a talk on my history my journey for the last 50 years. But today, because I have given last time the same campus some time back, so I thought, why not I will slightly change. So generally, in ISRO, we used to think not beyond Mars. Maybe it's very difficult for us. Even Moon itself is very difficult. You know that how we have gone and this thing. Our interest is about 1,000 kilometer lower orbit to put the IR satellites, so that there will be a big optical eye which will see the ground to give lot of data for the, like just now we was talking about water management or kind of thing. So we will give where the water is high, where this thing and kind of, or even today if the fisherman is benefited, we will tell where the fish is more. So morning they will announce in the beach. So you go in this direction, because we like Hyderabadi biryani. These fishes are liking the algae. The algae is in green color, so the fish goes towards that. The satellite takes the picture and says, okay, this direction is the food is more, you go in this direction. Maybe the probability. So we could see this advantage. So like that, we have a program, and next one is the communication. Okay, you have to be there at 36,000 kilometers, where any object you put, the speed will be the surface speed of the Earth. So that when the Earth rotates, the satellite also, always it is about, we call it synchronous satellite. So the government, they don't want to spend many rockets. They said, okay, you develop one for IRS, one for communication satellites. So that's why we got the PSLV, which is Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, only for that purpose. Maybe a little later I will talk about it. So if you talk about the history, so maybe long back, even the Chinese man has a flying arrow with a fire arrow or whatever you call it, and the Europeans, they started developing the steam engines, and the force can come from that and kind of thing. So the lot of improvements slowly it started on the rocketry. Can I? So maybe by record, I think if you see 1633, I think this is the Hazen, maybe the name also. So this is the man first year 7-winged rocket he launched in Istanbul. So this is recorded already. It is painted on the museum. I have not visited. Maybe I would like to see that picture also. This is the one which is maybe having around 60 kg of payload to go for a short distance. This is the one I could see. Later, of course, in India, Tipu Sultan has started working on rocket, and you know that even the British, they were worried about his development. Even they learned a lot of things from him, and they have taken it back. That is history says. So you could see how they were all worried about Tipu's flying rocket. And maybe later, slowly it changed. Maybe we call it father of rocketry. He is a Chinese man, Russian. So he is the Konstantin Cislovsky. He is the person who thought. Maybe he himself has drawn this picture, and he could see how inside the spacecraft a man has to be without G, he can fly, and having the flying wheel and the suit and all those things he imagined even about 100 years back. So he started writing even liquid rockets and staging and kind of thing. So he is the man who started, though he started, but it was picked up very high, not in Russia. Parallelly, Americans also, they started with by Goddard, yeah. So the same time, you believe it or not, the space suit was invented by Spain, not by Russians or the Americans or the Europe or the other people. Only the Spain man, he invented a space suit. It is pressurized and having, thermal control and humidity control kind of thing. The same suit was modified by the Russians and the Americans for their later travel and other things. So next, so then started the Europeans, and the start we call it first propeller 1941, even before the Second World War. At the same time, all of you know that Hitler was ruling, so he made the V2, V1 and V2. V2 rocket is the first rocket which went into the space. Can you go to the next Libra? Yeah, okay, maybe before the next one. This is the one they call it the JETO rocket. We also developed, and Kalam was the leader. I was also associated in India. We developed one JETO rocket and take it to Raebareli, and we successfully tested that. And that was the first success for Kalam. So next one. So this is the one I was telling by Germans, and this is a V2 rocket. You believe it or not, in 1942 itself, they used the liquid oxygen, and those days itself it is a semi-cryo engine. So there is a big tunnel. In one tunnel, all the raw material will go, and the outlet, the rocket will come. So that kind of a system Hitler was having. The leader was von Braun. Maybe all of you may be knowing. He was the man later he went to US, and he was the Von Braun was the leader of the Apollo mission. And he is the man designed this V2 rocket, which was one threatening the whole Second World War. So first one flight tested, and second one went up to 172 kilometers. That is the first one which was going to the space and coming back. So maybe we can say that Germans are the first one. They have developed the proper rocket with the control and pins and all those things, and this is fun. So once the war is over, and there was a two type of project. The Americans, they catch hold of all the. So yes, they have taken to their. They started the project Apollo and all those things. All the technicians were taken by Russians. Very few people they have come to France, and one of the man is called Berger. I was lucky enough to work with him for 3 years in France when we were there. So there are two moves. One is the left-hand side is the American, they have taken the scientists, and right-hand side is the Russians, they have taken most of the things. So once this was over, in both places, both Russia as well as in America, is race started. Who will put the, who will go to the satellite and our kind of thing it started. So the first one, maybe you put the next one. You could see the at the same time that Frenchman also not sleeping. So they started the Veronique rocket, first flight. They have successfully they have done in 1952, and then maybe next one. Yeah. So maybe all of you know that any development there will be a positive as well as the negative. So the rocket is not only used for peaceful purpose, it is used for the missile applications. So the Russians, they kept first time the ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile. It's a derivative of maybe the Germans, this one. But this is also semi-cryo, but they have used liquid oxygen and kerosene as the fuel. And it is a clustering of many engines. So you might have heard about Vostok and Suez and all those things. So these are all they call it R7, R8 kind of engines. So it is very popular. So same time, Americans also, they started the ICBM like Minuteman and Redstone and all those things also they have done. Next. So this is the engine Russians, the group of 4 engines they have developed between 1954 to 57. Still, this is a very good and working engine that they are having. It is the last kerosene, 1 turbo pump with 4 strap-on. I witnessed this engine also. I have seen very good one. Next, so these are all the engines connected into a Suez vehicle. You could see nearly about 16 engines. Each engine can develop 100-ton thrust. So the total lift-off weight is nearly about 1,600 thrust. So it is a very good. Maybe more than 1,000 flights they have done, very few failures. Next. So later they have developed a very powerful rocket. This is a RD-170. Each engine can develop 200 tons. So 4 engine means 800 tons, which is used in Zenith as well as step-on for the energy and other things. Very successful one. And we are also now currently ISRO is working similar engine for one of the engine nearly about 200 tons, not 4 engines, single engine for future GSLV application. Next. So maybe even the Americans, they announced the USSR first satellites when they put 1957. So this is the one even the Americans announced. Russians have put the Sputnik first. So 1957. Can you go to the next? Next, immediately, Americans little delay of 1 year. This thing they have also launched the Explorer very nicely. It also went around the air and it has come. Next. So these two people started going, neck to neck race was there, and maybe first 1961 the first human was put around this one. Maybe there are a lot of stories. Maybe they made 2 launchers, and one launcher was launched, immediately that failed, but the second launch only Gagarin was sitting. But still they have taken a decision to launch, but luckily he has gone. And what you are seeing on the extreme, that where he was sitting, is a very, I have seen the capsule, you cannot even enter, they might have pushed him inside, and there is only chair, and I don't know how 48 hours or 50 hours he was there inside this one. Such a narrow, small space, and he has gone and come back, and of course, and he is very famous. I think maybe his statue is there very close to Moscow University. You might have seen it there. And next, so immediately Americans also not they also put in 61 same year and space flight, and they also put the man on the orbit. And but the Russians still they will have sent a women in the that is where can you go to the next one? So she is the lady, first lady, and everybody those days in India we used to mention about her name. So she was the first lady. She went around the earth and she has come back. But the Americans they could not succeed. They took almost like 7 years later only they were put. But they are not worried about putting a lady. They want to land on the moon. So they were Kennedy was giving the direction you have to take the decision to that. So maybe you could see the exploration started, and of course this is one more rocket, the Proton. I have witnessed this rocket. More than 1,200 rockets they have tested, used. Only 2 failures, if I'm correct. Recently one also failed. So otherwise it is a very good one. Next, and they have done spacecraft. Maybe this is a very interesting one. From this only the space station started. How to put the man, and for a long time, and all those things they thought about it. And very interestingly, I could meet one of the astronauts who was staying there more than 6 months. The second time also he went and he has come back, and I met him in the ambassador's house, and I asked him how was your travel and other things. So he was explaining the first time when the astronauts were there, for sleeping, they could not sleep on a bed or anything. So they will hook the collar on this thing, they will stand and then they will sleep. So all of a sudden this man started shouting. He thought from the space somebody had come and put the hand, but his own hand was raising due to there is no gravity. So he thought somebody else is coming and they're trying to hit. So that is the way he was explaining to me. So that are all the very interesting time. Can you go to the next video? So these Americans, they started the moon, but before landing on the moon, they first send 3 people around the moon and then they come back. And Von Braun was little worried how to, if you put a man, how he will come back and all those things. So they are telling a story. We don't know whether it is true or not. He was, he was with a physician or his person who was saving his this thing. He asked why he was so much worried. He said the case. He only suggested he's like a mother and child with a umbilical. Wouldn't have mother's spacecraft, and from there a small one can go and land on the moon, so that later that can come and attach back. So so he picked up. So he started doing a twin spacecraft. One will be going around the moon and one will be landing, and again. So that's why 2 people were in the mother spacecraft, and Amsterdam. So this is a historical, and everybody is very happy. Maybe those days when
got stuck. And these people left. They left the meeting. The speaker. could be a power failure. Why is this girl coming here? Huh? Why even I'm thinking to do this.